We are back on It's Always Game Day in Cincinnati. To be completely honest, again, reminder, we are at a pretty quiet, dead period for the Cincinnati Bengals. Not hearing a whole lot. I know Joe Burrow changed his name on his caption game on Instagram to Joey De La Cruz. He's embracing the Red Hot Reds. The Reds are currently losing after their nice little win streak. So we'll see what happens between now and training camp if the Reds are going to be making postseason. But that doesn't matter because it's a Bengals podcast. So right now, I know you said it before we got on the podcast, or maybe you said in the very beginning when you don't get on social media a lot during the off season. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I'm on it so much during the season, just
Mhm.
promoting my articles, reading what smart people have to say about what's going on with the Bengals or around the NFL. I'm an NFL fan too. Like that's the big part of this is like I love the league. I love like the Bengals go out and I still have opinions, takes, guys I like. It was cool seeing. Well, I've always loved Andy Reid, even though that's become a big I don't think
Well,
Bengals fans hate Andy Reid. I
I
think
don't either.
out of all the Chiefs, I think that would be the one guy I'm allowed to be okay with. Andy
Well,
Reid.
Andy Reid has always given Cincinnati major props after those matchups and things like that. So I don't and he's look. I know Patrick Mahomes is really good, but Andy Reid is a very
First
very
ballot Hall of Fame coach, best offensive mind of the generation. Yeah, that's
things.
pretty good.
You can't really count out.
Um,
I mean, you have Andy Reid as your head coach, so that's very helpful. But
but
well,
then,
you're making
yeah, I don't know. I
good.
love the. I was just saying, like in the Super Bowl, I still had guys I like Andy Reid, and then I liked so many guys in the Philly offensive line. Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson was my guy coming out of college. So there's like all these guys that like I want to see these guys do well. I wasn't rooting for. Well, I was kind of rooting for the Eagles, just being a
Oh, I
little
was.
butthurt. Not a little. I was definitely rooting for the Eagles, but I was happy for Andy Reid when they won. I was just kind of like, it is cool. He wins his second. He's going to be a walk-in, like once he retires into the Hall of Fame type coach. Because if you could imagine, it's hard. 5 years ago, I think you're talking about a fringe candidate with Andy Reid, even though he was the same
Really?
offensive mind. No Super Bowls. How many
Well,
coaches
yeah,
have ever made it without a Super
you're
Bowl?
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
even though he was one of the most winning coaches, he developed these awesome systems. It's why, like, if Kyle Shanahan retired right now, probably doesn't make it. Even though he's been a genius and he's put together all these big wins, made a Super Bowl, and he lost, and then he's been to a few NFC Championship games. Okay, there's Super Bowl winning coaches that are in the Hall of Fame, but now it feels like Andy Reid has gone in 5 years of his like 20 something year career. In 5 years, he went from not really having a good shot of making it into being maybe a first ballot Hall of Famer.
and that's why and I guess I don't feel the same about being happy for Andy Reid for a second Super Bowl. No, don't want it to come across like that. He does seem like a great guy and honestly, the amazing football mind. And it will be easier when Cincinnati finally wins the Lombardi to be like, oh man, great career, Andy Reid. You did a great job. But this matchup alone, it's a really good decision to stay off social media and Twitter. I know a couple weeks ago, actually, we never hit it on the podcast, which is so crazy because there was the summer break for the Cincinnati Bengals. We could have talked about it to kind of fill the segments. Everybody knows what happened. Joe praised Patrick Mahomes, and I wouldn't even say praise. He just said, yeah, he's quarterback number one. Jamar Chase had a little fun with it because he likes his quarterback, and he said, Pat who? Pat goes to the Super Bowl ring night, and he says, this is who with the Super Bowl rings. And Travis Kelsey sounds like he's in WWE, doing his interviews and doesn't like what Jamar Chase said, has his comments. I won't repeat those. All of this. I love the rivalry. I think it is one of the best in sports. And what's so crazy about it is they were a play away from it not being a rivalry. But still kind of a little bit of one because of the hatred between the two teams and how close the games are when they play each other. They're absolutely insane. And I'm pumped for December 31st, what that game's going to mean. Hopefully it's number one seed or number two seed, depending on, where both teams are at by that time of the season. They'll probably see each other again in the postseason. But it's fun to watch the players go at each other. I kind of like that, but the fan base, it's a little crazy out there in the Twitter world. And I guess I will say this one thing I don't understand. Look, number one, I don't know what it's like to win a championship. I really wish I knew what it was like. I think that would be really awesome. The Bengals have been close in back-to-back years. I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Cincinnati Bengals just came off a Super Bowl win, the last team I want to talk about is the other teams that I lost to or that I beat in the AFC Championship game. I am talking about my Super Bowl probably every day. I'm excited about it. I'm pumped. It's very weird to me that there's so much I don't want to use the word obsession, but there's just so much from that Kansas City fan base right now when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I just don't know what it is.
I mean, yes, I would be with you. Keep in mind, this is their second. So they already spent probably that. Well, I guess technically their third, but nobody on Twitter was around for the Super Bowl III,
Yeah.
where Curly Culp should have won player of the game. You can go back and watch that.
I
I
mean, I'll
firmly
take your word.
believe he gave Mike Tingle off the business, and Len Dawson didn't really do that much. But I watched it one time, and it wasn't really paying that much attention. I was watching the old Super Bowl because I want to see it. But anyway, nobody watched that one. So this is basically their second ring. Their first one, they probably spent doing exactly what you're talking about, where just soak it in, enjoy it.
Yeah.
They probably could have enjoyed this one more because it did feel, I think even back when I was on Twitter a lot, which was like right after the season and into the draft and all of that stuff, it was kind of still going on. Or like already starting. And to me, I was just like, look, whatever, they won. I think some of it just comes from winning against absolutely everyone every time they ever play and need to win a game, except the Bengals. That is the one team that's been the thorn in their side, even though they finally won. You know, they are 1-3. I don't think of it as anything other than just like kind of a little bit of frustration too. I've had very many cathartic experiences where I finally overcome something, and I am I gloat a lot. It's usually not a person. It'll be like finally. I mean, it happened last week. I played pickup basketball, and I missed so many threes to start our a bunch of games. This was like the third game in, but yeah, I was shooting like probably like 20%, 15% from three, and I hit this three to start the third game we played, and I just let out like a primal yell about being so excited about I finally hit one. And I feel like that's kind of what it feels like, where they were 0-3, and then they finally won one. They haven't let that cathartic like win go. Like, yeah, we finally did that. You know, we finally slayed the beast that was giving us issues. And I'm sure if this gets posted or whatever, it'll be all about how like we don't care. We won 2 rings. It's like, I know you don't really care that much, but I do think that's the only reason that any Chiefs fan would hear this Bengals podcast in the first place. Is just the rivalry. That's the only team that you haven't been able to beat every single time you ever want to in the past couple of years. I think that's the big thing. I guess the Bucks, but they were so unhealthy when they played that Buccaneers team. That Buccaneers team was really good though. I do think fully healthy, it would have been a game. And I think you see that by the Bucks dominating them when they were injured. But that would have been interesting to see how that goes. It was also a 1-year team. They were done after that, even though they tried to run it back. Yeah, that's where I am. Is just I do think it's a little bit of the 1-3 thing. If they were 3-1, I don't think they would really care. I think they would just like, yeah, you beat us in that one AFC Championship game.
And I just want to say this because I do see a little bit of it's absolutely wild that Cleveland wants to get in this conversation, but
they've never
they're there, but they will be like, you have this. I agree with you. I think the biggest thing is it's the 1-3. And they finally got over it in one of the biggest moments, and the games have been absolutely insane. I mean, you can go back and watch every single one of them. Something crazy happens in all of them. For Cincinnati to come back in the AFC Championship game, and I felt like they were driving to kick the game-winning field goal, the Joseph Asai hit, which I still don't blame him for because they thought he had a great game. It was just an insane matchup every single time. Do you think it's the best rivalry in the NFL?
Yeah. What else compares?
Nothing. There's absolutely nothing, and maybe we're too close to it, and we're a little biased.
It's everything that they were trying to hype Bills Chiefs up as.
I just don't. I can't get in the Bills hype.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Is that this rivalry is everything that it felt like NFL writers were trying to say Bills Chiefs was going to be, where that's going to be blah blah blah. That's going to be the best rivalry in sports. It's 2 of the best quarterbacks, and it's just like, hey, how's it going? This is actually what you're talking about. And it actually feels like some of them don't really want it to be that. Like, hold on. No, we want to Bills Chiefs. So not always appreciated the same way, but I think it's the best rivalry in sports. What else compares? Do you think the Chiefs fans give 2 craps about the Bills? No,
They
Bills
don't
fans
even
care. Bills fans care about the Chiefs because they can't get over that hump other than regular season games. This is exactly where I am with the whole the Bengals and versus Bills for the Chiefs is the Bengals are your biggest threat. They're the one that's beating you in the playoffs. But B, the Chiefs fans lose those regular season games. If the Bengals only ever won regular season games against the Chiefs, it would just be like, yeah, who cares?
yeah.
But it's that AFC Championship game they won against them as well that kind of digs in. It's just like kind of sits in there a little because what the Bills have won 2 in a row in the regular season against the Chiefs.
Mhm.
It hasn't mattered. That
No.
doesn't like
Like losing it's
even me talking like who cares? It's my
but it
reaction.
but it's like losing to Cleveland. None of those games impact
Yep,
Cincinnati getting to
exactly.
none
But
of
if
it.
Cleveland beats you in the divisional round, then
And
you care.
yeah, then that's a problem. But it's so wild that I agree with you. I do think it is that record, and you don't. I mean, if you, it's like if you're in the AFC West, you never have to hear from the Chiefs because they don't care about you. They just don't care. They're like, sorry, we have
Yeah,
to.
but I bet you so much money that those fan bases are the ones tagging the Chiefs and like trying to do this the smack talking and whatnot. I'm sure Broncos fans are trying to hype up Sean Payton and Russell Wilson's going to bounce back, and the Chargers keep going with the Justin Herbert thing. And well, Raiders fans are always insane. Yeah, they're the Browns of the whole operation.
It's there to make it 4 teams. Like that's all it is.
They're there to make it 4 teams. They're going to be very excited about that team, even good or bad. You know, got to respect that at least. Is that the Browns watched Baker Mayfield have a bad year, and they just thought, you know what? Remember when he won a playoff game? We're just going to get super excited about that. And that's where they are now with the whole. I can't believe how excited Browns fans are for Deshaun Watson, where I would be so nervous. It's like,
Do
you
you
paid him
see?
what?
You see those videos? And again, you don't see them because you're not on social media, which I highly recommend
I
staying.
dabble. I dabble. I just don't go on much
When
for my sanity.
he throws a football, and they're like, "Oh gosh, Deshaun Watson." I can't believe I'm saying his name on this podcast. He throws the ball. Did you see him throw the ball with the cameraman? And it's like, I hope he could throw a football 5 yards. I mean, that would
Paid
be
$50 million
it. The hype
per
is
season.
real. They're counting. This is how sad it is this offseason. They're counting titles before the AFC North was created.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Like,
look, of
when you have
course.
0, that's where you're at right now. It's
The Bengals take either one of the Bengals' last 2 seasons, and it would be the greatest season of the Browns' like 60-year NFL history. Let's throw out the whole 8-team nonsense when Jim Brown was able to lead them to their championships. They can love those. They've never seen them live. I don't assume. I mean, shoot. I mean, how old would you have to be to have seen that live? And then, like, is that person on Twitter, on NFL Twitter? Probably not. So I just let that go. It's like if you want to count it, count it. But it almost feels just like a technicality. Like when Steelers fans bring it up, I feel like they almost ever only bring up the 2 Super Bowls they won that they saw with their eyes. They don't bring up the '70s one unless they want to talk about most ever or something.
well, it's funny you mentioned the Steelers, and there's a little connection here. Obviously, Nick, our producer. I was having a conversation with a Steelers fan, and look, I'm not comparing
Was it
Cincinnati.
Nick, our producer?
It wasn't Nick, our producer, but
Oh.
it obviously Cincinnati doesn't have Super Bowls, and the Pittsburgh Steelers do. And I had mentioned to him, I said, "Man, it really feels like Cincinnati's getting a lot of heat right now, and there's just a lot of people against Joe Burrow, this team, and I don't understand it because they're so fun, and it's all over the NFL." And he said, "Lindsay, do you know how much hate we used to get all the time when we were winning? It happens all the time. If you are winning a winning football team,
Mm-hmm.
every fan base is coming for you. And, that part isn't fun, but you just be like, I don't care. I get to watch a winning football team, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what's out there."
I actually thought about that before. Was I don't remember, and it was a different age, but I feel like I'm not saying don't fight with people online, although I kind of am saying that for your own mental health if it does affect you. But I feel like I didn't see the Patriots Colts fans of the 2000s really care when somebody was like, I think Drew Brees is better than Peyton Manning. It's like, he's not, but who cares?
Yeah.
They just kind of like moved on. So I feel like we as a Bengals community should kind of take that approach of, uh, you know, Chubb's, I don't know, Chubb 2K season tweeted out Deshaun Watson's better than Joe Burrow, and he's just kind of like, he's not, whatever, who cares? I'm not
Yeah.
getting into this.
Yeah, you just go to their timeline, and then you can be like, "Yep, that's probably one I shouldn't even read or reply to." But no, and definitely I'm guilty of it because you'll see those Twitter accounts out there,
Oh,
with
they hook me sometimes. Sometimes it's good bait. Sometimes
it
it's just
sometimes
good
it's
bait.
fun. And if you're like a FanDuel or any other NFL Twitter, I know FanDuel's not, but any other Twitter handle, it's smart to put the Bengals in your tweet because you'll get a lot of interaction for sure. But no, I think I think we're in the off season. Look,
Mhm.
that's going to continue. It's going to heat up in September, and of course, when we get closer to that New Year's Eve game, it's going to be crazy with the rivalry. But yeah, I agree. I think it's the best in the NFL. There's really not one that I can compare it to right now, and it should be fun. It should be fun. But
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, when was the last time, like, inside the conference, but outside the division like this? I think Manning Brady, but that would be multiple teams. I do think that one was probably up there. I mean,
you
Manning
really
Brady. Yeah, I mean, look, that was must see
well.
TV sometimes.
You're right. You're right. You're right. It's Manning and Tom Brady. What am I thinking?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
that's
like two best quarterbacks of all time playing at the same time. It's great. But other than that, I mean, the next closest I can think of off the top of my head, it only lasted a couple of years, was I think the Panthers Seahawks had a rivalry going like 2015 era. That was a little something, but
okay.
didn't feel as big. It wasn't like back to back NFC Championship games, slobber knocker fight type things. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, these are two young hip teams. I don't know if the players hate each other or anything. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I this to me, I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but it feels like the very start of that Colts Patriots type rivalry where it was a very big back and forth. Manning Brady talking a lot of storylines all the time, classic games left and right, and you hope that you are the Patriots out of those two.
Yeah, can the Bengals get on the Patriots side now? Start sucking up those trophies. That would be fun. But no, it's fun. I'm gonna enjoy it for the time being, and just have a little fun with it because Cincinnati's fun right now. And if everybody
Mhm.
can stay healthy, they should be the same exact team that we saw in 2022, if not better. I know you're still taking a break over on all Bengals. Is that correct? Hitting that
Yeah,
training camp.
I'm just wait. What?
You're gonna hit it back up on training camp. You're gonna get back into the groove of training camp preseason. What do you
Yes, yeah, definitely preseason somewhere. Maybe we'll see.
We'll
I don't
see.
know when. Yeah, I'm just taking the mental health break. It's a grind. I don't know. It's just
Dude, I mean, what are you gonna say right now, to be completely
that's
honest?
where I am. I read what other people are writing sometimes, and it's just like, man, I don't want to write this.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's all good stuff, and if you haven't checked it out already, still plenty of off-season content, all Bengals. You can see them over on Twitter, Bengals_Sands. You can follow me at LNDS Patterson. We will be back next week. Sorry, we will record this week. We'll be back later this week with a double header mailbag. So make sure you send those tweets. Thanks for listening to It's Always Game Day in Cincinnati.